What's up? How y'all doing? I'm here to talk about something a little bit different today. And the reason why I want to talk about this specifically is simply because of what I have been feeling in the atmosphere lately, what I have been feeling in the outside world, and not only just what I've been feeling, but what a lot of people have been feeling regarding this specific year, 2026, to be exact about the year, right? Um, the only reason why we have this concept that the time zone that we are in is the time zone of a 2,000 year period, right? Right now we are in well, at least us. When I say us, I'm talking about people that go by the Gregorian calendar, right? And see, that's the problem right there that I'm about to be addressing. There are only a few people on the earth, right? That still, because they claim that they have majority of the world under what I like to call the Gregorian spell, but there are a lot of people breaking out of it. There are even people who are under the Gregorian timeline, under the Gregorian system, and yet they still are breaking out of the timeline because they have a concept of time zones and timelines that exist outside of our own. You can only imagine how narcissistic it is to only view one timeline out of a vast global dimension that this earth is, this dimensional plane that we're on. It does not go by time in the way that we perceive time, and it never has. See, the problem with the Gregorian system and the pet peeve that I have with the Gregorian system is that it tells other calendars you don't matter. It tells other time zones you don't matter. If you look at the Yoruba calendar, right? The individuals that are going by a Yoruba calendar, the Yoruba culture calendar, the traditional Yoruba cultured calendar, right? They are in the they are in the 10,000 year time zone, right? You can go look this up. Everything that I'm about to say to you, please don't just go based off of my words. I don't want you to be sitting here and being like, well, that don't sound right. If it don't sound right, go look it up. Okay, this is real stuff. This is not no woo-woo stuff that I'm talking about. This is science. One of the biggest things that we need to be able to do as high priest and high priestess, sorry, I'm trying to say that, high priest and high priestess, is we need to know how to combine logic, reasoning, science with the spirituality, so that way our human capacity can still stay grounded and we'll still be able to understand the concept, right? Because the moment that you take logic out of spirituality, you take logic away from spiritual cycles, that's when you don't understand the way that the the way that the earth works anymore, because you are trying to perceive something that is literally imperceivable to your perspective, right? So, time zones. The 10,000 year time zone, right? You can go look this up, of the Yoruba culture. They are in a 10,000 year time zone. You have to really think about that for a second. Why are we so far behind? What the fuck happened? Because there had to have been some type of glitch. There are plentiful cultures that are way, way over here in their time zone, or they are way, way over here. And it seems like we are just kind of smack in the middle, stuck inside of a timeline. Like it's almost as if there was a restart with the Gregorian timeline, because this timeline does not align with any other traditional timelines of the world. This is the reason why they push Gregorian, Gregorian, Gregorian. Everybody should use a Gregorian calendar. And, they'll say something like this: use it for civil purposes. So it's already a slap in our faces as cultural peoples and people that are still, connected to our own culture in our own cultural ways, in our own traditional ways before colonization. It's already messing up our brains because we feel like we have to be up under a Gregorian spell in order to perceive time, when that's completely far from the case. Once again, time is lucid. Time zones are vast. So time is not perceivable to us. So why perceive it? Why try to perceive it is what I'm trying to understand about the Gregorian system. I'm going to, tell y'all about another calendar. This is actually the calendar because I'm a Hebrew priestess. So this is the calendar that, unfortunately I'm in America, so I still, realistically speaking, I ain't got no choice. I have to do things the Gregorian way, or else I'm not going to be aligned with the time zone or whatever. But I do study the ancient Hebrew calendar because it has secrets up in there, especially with that 13th month. And you see that 13th month that the Gregorian system took away is still in a bunch of other cultures. There are still a bunch of cultures that still hold the 13th month dear to their hearts. But then colonization told you, forget all that, come to the Gregorian system. Something ain't right. Something is not right. And this is the type of stuff that they don't want us looking into because they don't want us to find shit out. But see, the thing is, if you are an empath, if you are a priestess, a priest, if you are what's called a monk, if you are a shaman, medicine woman, medicine man, if you have that spiritual connection still, even after this system has tried to take your natural traditions and everything away and colonize them, capitalize off of them, if you were still able to grasp that in this time, you can still have a connection, right? You can still connect to that specific timeline. And those that know the timeline of other time zones cannot be completely brainwashed by the Gregorian system. You're still going to want to explore other time zones because you understand that the 2026 time zone is just one pebble in a vast ocean of time zones, right? So going to the Hebrew calendar. The Hebrew calendar is in the year 5000. Do y'all see what I'm talking about here? What something didn't go right. And they could try to make it seem like we're the crazy ones, all the hell they want, but at the end of the day, we know what y'all did at the time. And this is not just me saying this, right? It's not like I just came on here and decided to say this. I do my research and I listen to other people, right? And I see what is global. Things that are global and felt by a vast majority of people should be looked at, because this is a pool of awareness and consciousness from different people, so to say. And it's coming together because things are starting to connect. We're starting to connect back with certain things that we were disconnected from purposefully and intentionally by those who mean us harm. When you look at other calendars, right, I want y'all to go do this yourself. This is the reason why this is not going to be a long video. This is an awareness video. As I have said before, I'm not here to spoon feed information. I am here to give you bits and pieces to the keys. And then you have to unlock the rest. I show you the key, you unlock the door. Everybody got to do this. Teachers always want to act like they're also not the student. Baby, I'm the student, right? And the thing is, I don't even consider myself a teacher. I really honestly don't. I'm a healer. Like, I don't consider myself a teacher because I see life as being a continuous student. And you see, that's the problem with these higher ups and these people that we have running our system, right? Running this system that they placed or trying to globally place and lock down the world with this system, right? These people are completely and utterly hell-bent on knowing everything. That's always been their problem for the beginning. They want to know everything, and in reality, they want to be God. And I'm not talking gods as in just a being and body of power that is connected to other bodies of power. I'm talking about they want to be the Most High. They want to be your God. They want to be our gods. They want to literally know everything so that way they can make us seem like we know nothing. If that makes sense, right? They're hell-bent on knowing everything. They're hell-bent on being the teacher more than ever being the student. And in order for you to be able to grasp your own human existence, you have to understand that you will never stop being a student. Ever. It don't matter if you pass into the next timeline away from being a human and you a spirit body, you still are going to learn things and be a student to life, to the cycles of life and death, to the cycles of transformation of energy, because energy and spiritual energy transforms, right? Also proved by science, right? There is no way to know everything. That's the problem with these people. We're going to go to another calendar, right? And these two calendars that I'm about to explain are, these calendars right here are not going to make no sense. Bear with me, y'all. So we got the Chinese calendar, the traditional Chinese calendar. That is in the year, placed in the year 4,000. 4,000 year time zone. And then we flip the other side, right? Because a lot of the calendars that I just explained are calendars that are forward in their time zones. But we didn't talk about the one that's back, right? So we got the Islamic calendar, who is in the year, the year time zone of the 1400s. What the hell is going on? I'm telling y'all. Why try to perceive time? This right here is proof that time should have been left alone. This right here is proof that it wasn't ever supposed to be no goddamn time machines. You're not supposed to be jumping timelines unless you're jumping timelines in your dreams. That's how you jump a timeline. We literally are being given like a way to go past human boundaries and human limitations. We were already given a way, but they wanted you to be disconnected from dream state and feel like that's just, just a bunch of pieced together of your memories. No, these are real, actual dimensional fields that we are reaching. And yes, a lot of them are built on human memory, but it does not mean that when you are in this state of lucidness, that you are not accessing other planes. They don't have any way of really knowing what planes you're accessing. And that's the problem, once again, with thinking that your ass know every fucking thing when you are a human just like me and like everybody else on the planet. The ego of these motherfuckers is just so, they have nerve, they have audacity to have an ego so big that it tells us we should listen to them before we listen to ourselves, and before we listen to the earth, and before we listen to the spirit, and before we listen to the elements. Don't listen to anything that's divine and natural. Listen to us because we have it all figured out, right? This is what these people are telling us. And y'all can't even perceive other time zones. When you ask any type of AI to explain what's going on with the time zones, they're going to go all around the mulberry bush because they don't fucking know. And they never will. Because it was not for the human mind to be able to perceive. That's it. You're not supposed to know. We're not supposed to know until we do. Until, you're not in human body limitations anymore. But you see, this is what happens when people don't see anything but their human body. They don't understand that energy is running, spiritual energy is running all throughout their body. The blood, the waters, the air, the oxygen, the minerals, everything that is inside of us is contributing to our being, right? This flesh is not all that we are. And so when we try to bring the flesh into a consciousness that it was never supposed to be, and this is the reason why people are going insane and why psychosis is a thing. Because people are trying to perceive things that was never meant for you to perceive. The fact that we have time zones that are headed backwards, and then we have time zones that are headed forwards, means that time is beyond our knowing. And it's just something that has to be accepted. But the Gregorian system couldn't accept that. What's his name? I don't really be knowing or give a damn about these names like that, because it ain't my history. But I think his name's Julius. You could correct me if you want. Like I said, I honestly don't give a fuck because you fucked up time. So I have no respect for you. in anything that you did. I have no respect for the individual that came up with the Gregorian system, because you are a fucking idiot. And I mean that with all disrespect. I don't care. You were not supposed to do what you did to time. So I'm not going to sit here and try to be nice to a motherfucker that you have no respect for the earth. I don't have respect for you. Take some time, whenever y'all got the time, take some time to go study these time zones. Take some time to go study the 13th month. Take the time to go study leap years and how many leap years are actually in different time zones, because they're the little leap year that we got, once again, it's malaligned. Everything that you see about the Gregorian system, what I want you to do too when you do this research is I want you to take the Gregorian system and I want you to compare it to all these other timelines, so that way you can see how malaligned this shit is with the earth, with cycles, with the universe. It is not in any way aligned with anything that goes by natural divine laws. And then we wonder why everything feels so fucked up. You are in the wrong time zone. We are in the wrong time zone. And you know, we're human. There's nothing that we can do about that. That's the unfortunate thing about it. The only thing that we can do is ascend our consciousness and be aware of these things and know them, so that way we can be prepared for the times to come. That is all that we can do. Because see, the smart individuals know that we do not have control over reality like we think that we do. The smart individuals have already grasped that, and they're fine with it. They're like, I don't need control over this shit. This is way beyond me. I'm good. Let it do what it do. Let the earth do what she does. Right? But they didn't want to do that. They wanted to take control, and see, a lot of these calendars too go by what is called a lunisolar, right? That balance of moon and sun. But you see, we are on a completely solar calendar that has just cut the moon off. It cut the moon off from time. We don't go by lunisolar. We're just going by solar. Which I ain't got a problem with the sun, but at the end of the day, the sun and the moon exist, and they are a part of time and the cycles. So our cultures understood this. They didn't have, once again, they didn't have no problem with how things naturally go. These damn, what I like to call clones, because these motherfuckers can't be human. If you see these folks, Epstein and Trump and all of these goddamn people, these folks ain't human. These folks are not human. Y'all is reptilians like a motherfucker. You have to be. Because the things that y'all are doing, and the rituals that y'all do in secret, and the things that y'all know, and the things that y'all have grasped, and how you do y'all can't be human. It's some type of cloning going on with that system and going on with these people. I just wanted to give y'all a token and some food for thought, that you can take yourself and you can perceive yourself. So that way you don't feel the need to just go based off of word of mouth. This is something that you can go study, and something that you could go educate yourself on. Different time zones. Especially considering how weird time has been feeling lately, because it's a lot of people feeling it. Some people that can't, because that's just how disconnected they are from the earth. But you can't disconnect the earth's children from the earth. You cannot disconnect the children of the soil, baby. We're the soil of the earth. The minerals of the earth. We're organic. The beings that feel this are organic beings. That's why they feel it. Right? And we're not going based off of just, as powerful as melanin is. We're not just going based off of that. Right? There are beings worldwide coming back into their cultural remembrance. It's that blood. That's really what this is about. It's that blood and water connection that we still have, even in times that are trying to force us out of it. We are grasping on hard because we have power and strength against certain programmings. But that's what they don't want you to know. They don't ever want you to know that you're powerful, right? Especially when you start to go do your research on certain things. They don't want you to know that you're powerful. Research is power. Knowledge is power. But wisdom is power too. Because when you find certain things, then you start deciding, okay, what am I going to do about this? How am I going to align my life with cycles and with the way that the earth works, right? How am I going to align back with the earth instead of aligning with systems that have been placed around my consciousness to try to disconnect me from the earth? That's what this is really all about. They're scared of the sun because they can't handle the sun because they're that fucking inorganic. They are that inorganic to the point where they're like, cut it off. Just turn the sun off. Let's make a fake one. Or let's make a copy of the sun. Let's make a copy of the moon. Let's make a copy of all of these things, right? Right down to the fact that AI is basically a mirror dimension. Because when you really think about, and I'm saying this once again, not in a way that's supposed to be woo-woo, not in a way that's supposed to make anybody start losing their fucking mind. Grasp it logically. Grasp it with science for a second. When you think of AI in itself, in its way of being, it is nothing but a mirror dimension. It is a mirror plane, right? Because all AI is programmed to do is to mirror our own consciousness. It does not have its own. And then you've got people out here that really are starting to believe that AI has its own consciousness. It does not. It has what is called a mirror. It has what is called a counterfeit. Everything that the system wants is counterfeit. This is why they fuck with time zones. This is why they mess with what we know and what knowledge and wisdoms we have access to, right? Because of the need to try to control, capitalize, and make and create a counterfeit rather than connecting to the original. Ain't it sick how they work? But it's cool because you don't work like that. You don't work like that. You work differently. That's all you got to be focused on, is that you are built different. And that you are built to take divine knowledge and historical knowledge and wisdoms that were taken from us. And you are meant to reinstall it back into the earth. Whenever they try to take something out, it's up to us to put it back. That's why we're here, y'all. We are here to help the earth's healing. We can't heal her. Okay, we're not that damn powerful. But we can help her heal. Because she's broken down. She's broken down real bad. And still flourishing. You know, still rising, still I rise is the energy she got, right? Still I rise energy comes from the earth. But we got to rise with her. She needs allies. She needs us. And we need her, right? It's time to connect back to the natural ways of life. I'm not telling you to get rid of your calendar. Like I said, we unfortunately need it. You know, if you are in a colonized Gregorian time zone, you can have your original calendar. You can study it. You can still have a inward connection to it. But to exercise it outside in reality, it wouldn't align. It still wouldn't align. And it's fucked up because in reality, there's no actual way to get back in alignment with time zones until time zones align themselves. The aligning needs to just happen, right? It needs to consciously happen. But we can't bring that forth. When you go study these time zones, really what I hope it does for you is I hope it teaches you something about your soul. I hope it teaches you something about your ancestral codes. I hope that it teaches you something deep about yourself and awakens a part of you that can connect again, that can feel connected and whole again, right? Because when we're aligned, we feel whole. When we're malaligned, we don't feel whole. I feel like there is a reason why in this very time we are starting to connect back to these other time zones, because this wasn't happening a lot. Everybody was, just worry about the Gregorian calendar. And if you do worry about the Chinese calendar, only worry about the new year and the celebration of the new year, but you don't know the significance of the actual calendar and the time that it's in. They never want you to dig that deep. But you gotta dig deep. Gotta dig deep to understand this. Anyway, I love y'all. Peace, blessings, and shalom always. And when you get knowledge and wisdom, hold it. Hold it tight. I love y'all.